Refueled and revving to go. Welcome back to the mini festival at Brands Hatch. It's the turn of the JCWs, their final race of the weekend, but it's a reverse grid, so the top three are further back. How's that going to affect things? It's time to find out. Let's go racing. It's over to Richard.
Thanks very much, Michelle. As you can see, pole position down there is Rory Cuff, and alongside we've got Lewis Brown. So this is the third race of the weekend. If you've been following your mini challenge JCW class racing over the course of the season, you'll know that normally we do a double header. But this weekend, as part of the mini festival, 3 races. Races 1 and 2 were fastest off the front. This is the partially reverse grid, so even closer in concept to touring car racing than we've had earlier on this season. Who's going to take this win? Well, it could come from anywhere within those first 5 rows as the cars go off on their green flag lap here at Brands Hatch. So there was a little bit of confusion after the second race. There was a change round in some of the results. I haven't been able to update the championship points exactly, but I can tell you that the second race of the weekend was won by Nathan Harrison after Jiggy James Gornall won the first race. Gornall taking back the championship lead in race 1 yesterday. By my maths, Harrison's got the lead back after that. I've got them about 5 points apart. That's without us being able, me being able to analyse the fastest lap points, which I've been banging on around, but they are absolutely key to the championship. But the main thing is that it's so close between those two. It's 5 points without me thinking about the fastest lap points. Third position in the championship is still Dan Zelos. We've got a problem there, sadly, for Keenan Dole, local driver in the Jam Sport prepared car, the ex-motocrosser. Raced in the Volkswagen Trophy, was second in that in 2017, third in the VW Racing Cup in 2016, and that's not what you want to see for a young racing driver or any racing driver being pushed away from the grid, not able to take the start. Dole 11th, that driver coming into this weekend, is not going to be up there after that. Harrison and Gornall, as I said, 1 and 2 in the championship. Dan Zelos is third. Fourth is Ben Palmer. He had a good strong run in race 1 earlier today and was fourth, and by my reckoning now up to 5th in the standings. And again, apologies if I've got any of the maths wrong, but I reckon we got Lewis Brown, who is starting on the front, still looking for his first JCW win on the outside of the front row of the grid, and he, along with the other front runners, looking very racy in the 2 events that we've had so far this weekend. Keenan Dole has made it onto the grass. That's at the bottom of Paddock Hill Bend, just before they climb up Halewoods. And as we pan back, you can see Halewoods restaurant there, which is a good place to go and nab your food if you're here at Brands Hatch and wanting a bite to eat. Jonathan Palmer's team will look after you. And that is Lewis Brown. Major drama as Lewis Brown has pulled up. Now, I wonder if it's a shaft that's gone. He's certainly shafted, being started out on the front there. Start delayed board, absolutely spot on by the race organisers, that in the interests of safety, we'll get these 2 cars clear and then start the race again. But it does leave Rory Cuff on the front row of the grid on his own. It's effectively means he doesn't have to look across to his left on the start. There is Lewis Brown, bitterly disappointed for Lewis, the personable 20-year-old from Lincolnshire. Was 9th in the championship last year, 3rd at Snetterton, his best result, and his best result this year is 3rd, and I know that he wants to look at getting the backing to come and race with these cars on the British Touring Car Championship programme, which is where he started, of course, racing car racing in the Ginetta Juniors, where he was a front runner, as we told you, in race number 1. Now, where is he going to go? Is it into grid space? Just listening to see whether we can get the car fired up. I suspect that he may well get pushed to the end of the first part of the pit lane. There's a little drop back where the cars can slot in and then into retirement. But he's going to be really disappointed about that, as are we, because Lewis was without doubt one of the front runners in race number 1. So Lewis being pushed away. A lot of work again. Make no apology for thanking the marshals for the superb work that they do up and down the country. Can't go racing without them, and this is just, you know, one of the many tasks that they have to do. And Lewis Brown won't be very happy, but he'll be very grateful for the assistance of the marshals to get the 39 car into safety. So Lewis is going to have to wait again to race the JCW car here at Brands Hatch on the 4th of August, when they are with the British GT Championship. And that's the sort of run into the end of the season, because after that we're at Donington Park on the 15th of September and wrapping things up on the 20th of October at Snetterton. I do hope you'll be able to join us for any of those events. The guy at the front right is Lawrence Davey, who prepares the car. Lawrence, the former Legends Cars champion. Organisers already have realised things are clear. 1 minute board goes out, so we're getting ready to go once again, having wasted no time at all. Given the urgency with which that 39 car, now look, bottom left of your shot, it's been pushed back to the gate. I'm wondering whether they're going to try and get that car out, if they can sort it out, but that's certainly, they haven't abandoned the car. So we're on green flag lap part 2. Rory Cuff therefore reassumes pole position, having finished 7th in race number 1. Lewis Brown is out of it. Ben Palmer is next on the grid with Dan Zelos. Then the two big names for this year's championship, Nathan Harrison and James Gornall, will start on row 3, and they've got a somewhat clearer run through now to try and get to the front of the grid. But overtaking, as we've seen here, is not necessarily difficult, but it's an art, let's say that. But Rory Cuff on pole, the youngster from Henley-on-Thames in the number 12 car, in the Accelerate Motorsport prepared machine. Accelerate, of course, big part of this championship, and produce some great cars for their drivers to compete with. 3-shot goes 1-1-2, Neil Trotter. The work continues on Lewis Brown's car. Dave Newsham in red there, he's stuck in as well, Callum Newsham's dad, who engineers Callum's car, but he's not afraid to help out with the others on the team as well. And that is very much what Lawrence Davey Motorsport is about. Over the lunch break, as I mentioned on one of the earlier JCW races, I was talking to a couple of people that are looking at coming in and racing this for next year, and they'd actually come with the express purpose of talking to Lawrence Davey's team. So there's Jack Davidson next up from William Newnham in the 36, the blue and yellow livery car. Lewis Gaylor there in 77, looking to try and make progress. Max Bird's had a difficult weekend in the 44 machine. He goes through as well, as does the number 90 of Scott Jeffs, first outing of the season for him. Had a 15th in the championship last year, 10th place at Alton Park. Consistent runner was Scott, and good to see him out on the grid in this big field of cars, which one can only imagine may get even bigger still next year as the BTCC beckons. I understand that there will be 8 events that the JCW class will run, and if you haven't seen these cars before, 2-litre turbocharged BMW engine producing 275 brake horsepower, the F56 model. These are purpose-built race cars. If you look inside, you'll see the familiar name of SHP on the roll cage inside the car. Sonny Howard Preparations, who build lots of other cars for racing, notably the pickup truck championship and the Super Silhouette Championship that's that run as part of the British Truck Racing Association Championship. We're looking green flag at the back. We'll see the 5-second board very shortly. So in blue, Rory Cuff has got clear circuit ahead of him. Wait for lights out here at Brands Hatch. It's a long wait. The lights go out. Cuff snaking a little bit. Up into second position goes Ben Palmer. So Ben getting the best run from the second row. We need to keep our eyes on Nathan Harrison, who's usually a pretty useful starter on cold tyres, but James Gornall's got the better of him. Gornall in third, Zelos fourth, Nathan Harrison looking up the inside line, but it's Ben Palmer that's got the lead now from Rory Cuff. 3 wide as they go round Druids. Harrison in the Mintex car on the outside. Lewis Brown has got the car fired up and joins from the back of the grid. Great work by Lawrence Davies' team to get him on circuit. Now how far he can get up the order, he'll be hoping for a safety car as contacts there with Jim Laux in the blue and yellow 35 car. Manages to recover, but it's Ben Palmer who leads in the number 2. Brace of wins on the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit for him earlier on in the season. Palmer 4th in the standings. He's got a decent enough lead at the moment over the second place man Rory Cuff, who then has James Gornall, then Dan Zelos in blue and green. And where is Nathan Harrison as they go across the line? Harrison is down in 8th place, not the start that Nathan wanted. So seemingly, perhaps in the early stages of this race, as we watch Lewis Brown trying to tag himself onto the back of this, he's got about half a lap to catch up with the tail enders of this race. So loads of work to do. He will maybe have his fingers crossed for a safety car. But Nathan Harrison, perhaps the advantage going back to James Gornall here. Gornall then in 3rd place, the yellow, black and white car chasing Rory Cuff. And Gornall will fancy his chances of another podium from where he is, and maybe, if they can close in on Ben Palmer, another race win. Dan Zelos will be keen to get another podium as well. And Dan, if you look at the statistics, Dan's the guy who's got the momentum in terms of improvement in this championship. Hasn't had a win yet, but was a front runner in the Ginetta Junior Championship going back. Clio's as well, couldn't quite scrape together that win in the Clio's, as Cuff goes side by side now with Gornall looking up the inside line, can't quite do it. Zelos round the outside line here. Can Dan Zelos convert 4th into 3rd place? That was a super bit of driving by Zelos, who's got the grip. Surely he's going to take 3rd place from James Gornall. Yes, he does. Jack Davidson in the 21 car is coming to join in as well. But Dan Zelos showing some real class here around the Indy circuit at Brands Hatch. We've got heavily waved yellows there, trying to see why. 2 cars off, one of which is Kyle Reid, the pro champion. There's the safety car. That is what Lewis Brown was hoping for. We didn't really want to see it. The other car that is off there, I think, is Callum King, another Scottish-based driver, raced in the Scottish BMW Compact Cup, did 2 full seasons, did Callum, in the 45 car, and you can see very badly damaged there. And I'm wondering if that was a coming together with Kyle Reid, or whether Kyle got caught up in the aftermath of that. For the pandaracing.com 45 car, not looking happy. And Callum King, who was a front runner at the start of the year, 2 4th places at Alton Park, finds himself out of the race, and I think a 2nd retirement of the season. We didn't see him last time out at Donington Park, but he was pretty handy in the BMW Compacts. And Callum hopefully will be back to play next time on the GP circuit. It's not the only championship where I've seen consecutive rounds this year on Indy and GP. The Porsche Club Championship did much the same thing, although the other way round, as we look at the Jam Sport prepared car of race leader, the Berkshire driver Ben Palmer. So Ben in the number 2, MGZR class champion, Clio Cup Series racer in the past as well. Had his drop score, doesn't drop any scores now because he has a retirement in race 1 of the season at Alton Park, was 13th in race 2 after that, which was a good drive through the field. The rescue crew doing a super job, on scene very quickly as you can see, and getting stuck in with the lift, which is absolutely crucial. Anyone will tell you about having the car lifted, it's the most crucial part of the recovery, that the car doesn't get damaged. And the teams are briefed and trained and skilled in being able to retrieve these cars. It doesn't make any difference to the race distance, the safety car incidentally. It's a timed race at 20 minutes, so it does eat into the actual competitive time that we've got here. Kyle Reid has made it back into pit lane. So disappointment for the Scot in his guest drive, the reigning pro champion. Kyle, fiercely competitive driver, whose Scottish Championship stats were absolutely superb, got to say. He was, I think, may have the record for the most number of wins per start in the Scottish Championship. As I say, the Scottish Mini Cooper Cup has certainly provided a really good training ground for those drivers who want to move on international racing, and particularly in minis. Kyle took 17 wins up in Scotland, didn't do all the rounds when he was racing, 33 podia, 6 fastest laps and 1 pole position, but works on the oil rig, so can't always make it back for the racing as Callum King's machine gets hoisted to safety. So drama twice in the early stages of this race, and Ben Palmer it is that will have to manage the restart ahead of Rory Cuff, who is hanging on to 2nd position at the moment. Rory's best result so far this year, 5th place on the Grand Prix circuit at Silverstone. Just having a look at the cars coming through. Jack Mabin's made progress there in the black and red number 7. 31 car is Matthew Wilson. 112 Neil Trotter, local man based in Kent, used to race on the short ovals in the green car, and he's been caught now by Lewis Brown. Nathan Harrison in 7th position at the moment, so Nathan with some work to do, and crucially time running out on the safety car for him to go. There is the 27 car going through just ahead of Jim Laux. The 35 car, Jim, the man from Grendon Underwood. So Ben Palmer will be looking for lights out on the safety car. I'm looking up to where we saw Kyle Reid and company off the circuit, and that looks relatively clear, but we've still got the lights on the safety car at the moment. Although Ben Palmer is beginning to back them up. This is tactical from Ben. There is Jim Laux. Now the lights are out on the safety car, so Ben Palmer's timing was absolutely superb. He's backing them up. The safety car is already heading towards clearways, and Ben Palmer has backed them up as they go into Surtees corner, and he's now going. He was waiting, you could see him waiting, and just to pick the moment, and that looks like a pretty decent restart for me. They can't swap places or trade anything until they get past the start-finish line, but Ben Palmer, I think, read that pretty well, and that may well play into his hands as a key moment in this race, as well as the start. Goes across the line, Palmer the leader, Rory Cuff second, but in 3rd place, Dan Zelos will be challenging hard in 3rd. A little bit of a gap back to James Gornall. Then it's Jack Davidson in white with the blue top, but Palmer read that well. Zelos looking to try and make up a place there. Jim Laux all over the back at the moment of Nathan Harrison. One feels the championship will go right the way through to the final round at Snetterton in October. James Gornall is in the position though where he can't drop any more scores. He already drops 1 round, which was the retirement in round 6 on the Grand Prix circuit at Silverstone, so he can't afford any more of those. Nathan Harrison has been really consistent, and if he goes back, if he he's at top of the standings in this one at the moment, but he has to drop points as well, so with those taken into account, he can afford a retirement at some point during the racing season. So here we come up towards Druids, and all line astern at the moment, and a little bit of argy-bargy going on here with Tom Rawlings now having made progress and up ahead of James Laux. So Rawlings making progress, which is good for the youngster as they come along Cooper Straight, about halfway now. James Gornall showing a little bit of notice of intent. 4th position, the yellow and black and white car has the fastest lap of the race and running well. 47 car, James McIntyre in the mix as well. And there's Lewis Gaylor in 77, the white, green and black car up ahead of the 46, which is Stuart Gibbs. But Ben Palmer getting away from Rory Cuff. I'd kind of expected Dan Zelos to have already made a move on Rory Cuff, but Cuff is doing a very good job at the moment in 2nd place. But Zelos is getting momentum and looks up the inside. He's too far back at the moment. And again, Zelos in the Evergreen Tyres car will look in his mirrors and he'll see the perhaps championship leader-elect right in his mirrors and tracking him. So Zelos has only got to go offline once, and he'll be punished by the 18 car, very possibly by Jack Davidson in the 21 as well. So Dan's going to have to pick his moment. This is the point of the circuit where he made the passes earlier on in race number 1 of today's action. Another podium is not going to be a problem for Dan. 3rd in the championship. He is a little way away. He's around about 60-70 points down at the moment on Jiggy Gornall in the championship. A win is 50 points, so one race perhaps doesn't sound so bad, but Dan Zelos is again a driver that's hit very hard on the drop score scenario. Drops 28 points, so having been consistent, that hits back at him. There's 56, Harry Gooding getting stuck in, but back with the 2nd place man Rory Cuff, who goes along Cooper Straight in the blue number 12 car, still in 2nd position. James Gornall beginning to think maybe about having a go here, but has to be mindful of Jack Davidson behind as well in the 21. Jack Davidson, who was 6th in race number, beg your pardon, yeah, 6th position in race number 2, 7th in race 1 yesterday, so it's been quite consistent. The former owner, Rory Cuff, going right the way to the outside, kicking up the marbles on the outside as they go into Paddock Hill Bend. Now, is that going to play? You can see a little bit of a gap developing at the moment as Gornall comes under pressure from Davidson, getting defensive, and this is going to potentially allow Dan Zelos to have a go at Rory Cuff in 2nd place. Zelos will see that he's got that gap over the championship leader to be, we think, at the end of this race. Just having a quick check and see that Nathan Harrison is actually now up into 6th. So Harrison getting back in towards Gornall in this one with 8 minutes on the clock. And I've got a feeling this is going to be another JCW mini challenge race where we quite like the race to carry on for a little bit longer to see how it pans out. But we're looking at the scrap for 2nd and 3rd place. Ben Palmer, the leader, looking for a 3rd win of the year. Here is Ben coming towards us in the number 2 car. The lead, 1.4 seconds. Again, that's just that wide line by Rory Cuff heading down into Paddock. Chased by Dan Zelos. Dan, for my money, obviously a driver that I've followed over several seasons through Ginetta Junior and Clio, is showing a calmness and a maturity here in JCW that is over and above what I've seen from him previously. He's not taking risks. He's making great moves on track when he needs to, as we saw in race number 1. At the moment, he just doesn't seem to have the legs to get on terms with Rory Cuff. Having said that, it looks a little bit quicker through here. Again, this is where he made the move earlier on in race number 1. So if he can find an advantage there, let's just have a look and see whether he closes up as they come out of Clark Curve and onto the Brabham Straight. Ben Palmer goes across the line. 1.5 seconds is still the gap, and it was the marbles and the dust to soak up the oil left from one of the earlier races that we had before lunch that was looking quite spectacular. Might be worth having a look back at Nathan Harrison and Jack Davidson, who are in the mix there as well. Harrison putting the pressure on here on the 21 car, and the Scot, who was busy attacking James Gornall earlier on, now finds himself under pressure from Nathan Harrison. Harrison having won our first race of the day, Jiggy Gornall having won yesterday's race, and Jack Davidson under a lot of pressure at the moment. And look at that, the 27 car just trying to get the inside, get his nose on the inside line of that car. It has freed up James Gornall ahead of them, but coming into the mix now as well is Tom Rawlings in the 88 car in 7th place. So Tom Rawlings, best of 4th for him, Silverstone GP race 2. So this is a good strong performance from James Rawlings. But he'll want to be up with these guys who are fighting out for 2nd place. Dan Zelos here, if he can't deal with Rory Cuff in the next couple of laps, he's not going to have a shout at getting through for Ben Palmer. Cuff has the fastest lap of the race now. So the 2nd place man, he's definitely not holding up Dan Zelos. He's done a 52.106. Here he comes in the blue 12 car, goes through shot. Zelos following him, then James Gornall. Then it is Jack Davidson who leaves a gap, and Nathan Harrison doesn't need a second invitation. Pops the 27 Mintex car down the inside line. But if you're on the outside, you can have momentum. And that is what the young Scot is trying to employ here as they go side by side along the straight. But surely Nathan Harrison will grab that position. He picks off another place. That could be so significant at the end of the season as Nathan Harrison goes up into 5th place. Now 5th to 6th is only 2 points, but just a move like that could be so significant at the end of the season. Harrison going through, and also Harrison now has got fastest lap of the race as well. Maybe aided and abetted a little bit by a toe on that last lap. There's a personal best lap from James Gornall as well. So Harrison and Gornall are together on track. They've got Dan Zelos in front of them, Rory Cuff immediately in front of Dan, and away down the road at the moment, 1.8 seconds clear, is Ben Palmer, who's doing such a superb job out front, leading from the partially reverse grid pole position. Have a quick look down the timing screen, tell you that Lewis Brown from a pit lane start has climbed up to 20th place. So spirited stuff from Lewis. You see the black and yellow fella a little way back, and in fact coming into shot now, inside line just at the back of shot as we go back to Dan Zelos. He cannot get past Rory Cuff. These fastest laps very significant for drivers, as we've said, in terms of the championship points. The fastest lap nets 6 points, 2nd fastest lap of the race Second fastest driver will net 5 points. 4, 3, 2 and 1 down to the top point scorers, and we don't have that information on the timing screen, so we can't fill you in on that part of the championship, but we know pretty much what's happening championship-wise with, at the moment, James Gornall. There's 5 points between those drivers. I actually think that Nathan Harrison, placed where he is now based on racing points, Harrison should maintain the championship lead, but don't hold me to that, or don't crucify me on social media if that's not the case. But Rory Cuff still hangs on to second. Ben Palmer, not seeing a lot of him, and he is still out there and holding the lead well with 3 minutes left on the clock. Time is running out, but this is looking like a third win of the season for Palmer. Rory Cuff is next up and running well, and potentially the thing I've overlooked for Rory Cuff is that this is potentially his best result here with second place, and without wanting to speak too soon, the reverse grid races can provide that, and it will give him the confidence to know that if he can qualify the car for the first races of the meetings, that will have that confidence to keep the car there. So the number 12 still there in that second position with Ben Palmer, the race winner. For a hat-trick of wins here, and that's certainly going to give him a lot of confidence to bring to the Grand Prix circuit, I beg your pardon, here later on in August, 4th of August, actually not that long to go before the next race meeting for these cars. 2.5 minutes left on the clock. Zelos ahead of Gornall, ahead of Harrison, so aside from Lewis Brown, all of the main drivers in the championship are up towards the sharp end of the field once again here in the JCW racing. And Rory Cuff, I tell you what, if he loses second position now, he's going to be absolutely gutted. One feels that Dan Zelos is again starting to edge a little bit clear of James Gornall. Nathan Harrison coming back into the mix now and looks to the outside line of his championship rival. If he can get in front, he will take the championship lead out of this race without a doubt. He's going to go for the cutback. Gornall's wise to that though. Gornall's got lots of racing experience but runs wide, and Harrison's got his nose on the inside line. Has he got the cover? Is he going to come through on the inside? Harrison is challenging. James Gornall is a clean and fair racer, holds on to it, is pushed a little bit wide. Nathan Harrison goes through. Lovely piece of racing from him. Now Jack Davidson is in the mix. Harrison again, another good pass. He's just chipped away. And do you know what I've seen in this race from Nathan Harrison? He's very much like a touring car race. That's what these drivers aspire to. And it's not wham bam thank you, it's about chipping away place by place, and it's been such a great mature drive by the 22-year-old from Oxford, Nathan Harrison, to come through, and that's to 4th place. We've got a very competitive podium ahead of him, but he's just chipped away, got the points, and come through. Whether he can close down now on Dan Zelos in the closing stages of this race remains to be seen, but we've got, I reckon, another 2 laps to go. So this, the penultimate lap, I think, of the races. Rory Cuff again defending well from Dan Zelos. Real game of cat and mouse between these two. Rory, we know, has had the pace. He's positioned the car very well indeed. A lot of people say to me, you know, if cars are following each other lap after that, does that mean it's a boring race? No, it doesn't. It means that you've seen these athletes, which is what they are, matching each other wheel for wheel, inch for inch on the track. And that's what Rory Cuff and Dan Zelos have done right the way through this 20-minute race, as the race leader Ben Palmer goes across the line now. 15 seconds on the clock. This will be the last lap of our JCW Mini Challenge action at the Mini Festival for 2019. And Ben Palmer, look at the lead that he's got as he went across the line. He's again steadily built that. It's out to very nearly 2.3 seconds now for the number 2 car, and he's going to be very happy with his performance off the start during the race, having built the lead. Dan Zelos still challenging the number 12. What can he do in these closing stages? I suspect he won't go for a lunge because he's in a good place points wise. 3rd place is 40 points plus the fastest lap points that might be available. It's Nathan Harrison still with the fastest lap, who is running in 4th at the moment. But Ben Palmer comes through Clark Curve onto the Brabham Straight for the last time. 3 cars for 2nd place, so we'll have to look at how that pans out. But Ben Palmer takes the win. Are we going to see a change or a challenge for 2nd? No, it's Rory Cuff who crosses the line with Dan Zelos 3rd, Nathan Harrison 4th, Jiggy Gornall in 5th place from Jack Davidson. Following them was Tom Rawlings, who goes across the line in 7th place from Jim Laux, and then it was Brad Hutchison, ex-junior saloon car driver, 13th in the championship last year, his first outing of the season, as we see through across the line the 112 car of Neil Trotter. Neil used to race up at a grass track near where I lived many years ago, and moved on, did a bit of short oval racing. But there is Ben Palmer, who takes the reverse grid race win, and he'll be extremely happy about that. The man who was and is and will remain, I think, 4th in the championship. There's a sufficient gap between Palmer and Zelos, I think, for him to retain 4th position in the championship as we move to the last 3 events of the 2019 season. You can see everybody enjoying that race and rightly clapping the drivers who have put on a superb show for us over the course of the weekend. In terms of the results this weekend, it has been 1 win for James Gornall, 1 win for Nathan Harrison, and another win for Ben Palmer. So 3 different winners, but I think in terms of the points, maybe Nathan Harrison will have edged James Gornall in terms of the championship points this weekend, but we'll get confirmation obviously from everybody at Mini Challenge of that in due course. Result here of race 3 of the weekend for the JCW Mini Challenge. Ben Palmer takes the win. 2nd position goes to Rory Cuff, I beg your pardon, and 3rd position Dan Zelos. 4th goes to championship leader Nathan Harrison. Then it was James Gornall in 5th position ahead of Jack Davidson. Then 7th place, beg your pardon, Tom Rawlings from Jim Lukes. Brad Hutchison was next up from Harry Gooding. Harry Gooding's had an impressive weekend, had a non-finish yesterday, and done really all that you would expect him to do to come up into the top 10 by the end of race 3. So excellent progress from Harry Gooding, the Somerset-based racer with the Jam Sport team, the former Fiesta Junior Championship. Anyway, back to the result. 11th was Max Bird. Better race from the 19-year-old from Chichester in that one. Then it was Jack Mabin, another driver who came through the field in that race, into 12th place. 13th, James McIntyre. 14th, Callum Newsham. And then William Newnham next up in the 36 car, 15th. 16th goes to Richard Newman. And then Lewis Brown from the back of the field up into 17th place. 18th was Matthew Wilson. 19th, Lewis Gaylor in 77. 20th, the 46 car, Stuart Gibbs. He was followed by James Griffith. Scott Jeffs, 22nd from Josh Stanton. And 24th was Neil Trotter. So that's a run through of the finishing positions. And I say, you know what, I'm going to put the abacus away, not even going to attempt some of the championship placings, but we've got a real good flavour this weekend of the superb action that the F56 cars provide in this championship, and they are going to be such a welcome addition next year to the British Touring Car Championship paddock. And some great racing, and you'll have seen from that the technique. It's not that far removed from what we see. The winners are already on the winners' car coming down pit lane. I'm not sure who's going to do the honours this time in terms of the interviews, whether it's going to be Chris Dawes or Mark Werrell, but they will, I know, have enjoyed the races as much as we did here on our Facebook live feed. So the winners are parked up in front of the garages down by race control. Their work done for the afternoon. So it looks like everybody happy with that. So yeah, Ben Palmer, 3rd win of the year. Rory Cuff taking a best of 2nd position, and Dan Zelos grabbing the podium as we head down towards the interviews there with, I think, Mark Werrell by the look of it this time, who is up there. 14th row, 706 Joe Foley, 715 Johnny Kent. Okay, I'm not sure we're going to get time to grab the interviews with the top three in that race, but we will be back with the Facebook live stream for the Mini Challenge Cooper S around about 4:15. So hope you enjoyed the race, and we look forward to your company once again for the Cooper S race at around about 4:15 this afternoon. We'll catch you then.